Hi, everyone. One of the world's oldest drugs is also least understood, not because there isn't enough research, there's never enough research about anything, but because we don't slam enough about it. So I want to thank you so much for helping me talk or slam about cannabis today, that ancient plant with medical and non-medical uses spanning centuries before it was prohibited and then legalized in many markets. So I'm going to try and bridge the divide between the science and business of cannabis through this fascinating method of extraction, which I learned more about through my research with consumer surveys at Vividata and interviews with extraction companies like the Vitalis Extraction based in Vancouver. In Canada, Cannabis 1.0 was all about legalizing cannabis adult use in 2017. And in 2018, right a year after that, 2.0, what it was famously called, was all about bringing product diversity, which exposed consumers to new formats and ways of consuming or reimagining cannabis. You could drink, smell, touch, taste, feel cannabis and apply it. Close to 70% of Canadians think that cannabis is an alternative treatment to some medical conditions. And now this is why it creates a huge wellness and health and wellness sector, which is now valued at about $4.3 billion a year. And the fastest growing category of this health and wellness cannabis consumer is the 45-year-old adult and 45-year-old plus adult. So it's easy to see why cannabis is this newest and fastest growing industry. It was valued at about $9 billion in 2016 and projected to be valued at about $75 billion in 2025, the global industry itself. But what is more fast growing than cannabis itself? It's the extraction industry, the cannabis extraction industry. It's growing at a compound annual growth rate of about 22% and pegged to hit about $25 billion in 2025. So that's a bit of business background and the market size, and what does cannabis contain? I mean, people only know about or talk about CBD and THC, and the companies are mostly famous for just selling these right now in legal markets based on your jurisdiction. And what I have here is a hemp necklace or a hemp beverage necklace to trying to track my consumption. And the more people are brands are looking for innovative ways that they can track how consumers are consuming their patterns and occasions. And I want to talk about why knowing the difference between THC and CBD is still not clear among so many Canadians. 7 in 10 are not sure they know the difference between that. So my wearing a hemp necklace here is. I think there's a lot more need for education in this space. So CBD is the non-psychoactive and THC is the psychoactive, but both when combined together create something like the entourage effect, which have helped to combat certain ailments, but also curate certain recreational experiences. And hemp has about between 5 to 30 grams of hemp-derived CBD, which is not psychoactive at all. And but in a hyper-competitive market, so many products coming in and legalization happening and products coming to shelf, it's easy for us to forget that cannabis extraction companies need to focus on quality. And it's easy to forget the science behind the effects and what is and how do we focus on the science? By understanding how cannabis is extracted, because extraction allows manufacturers to obtain the highest concentration of THC and CBD to get for a mostly clear and viscous fluid, and understand along with the extraction time, flow rate, and temperature and pressure, to understand what are the factors that are going to influence the quality of extract. Quality of product is the most important factor that is influencing purchases today. So understanding the science behind that is important. How the plant has evolved over time, extracts have evolved over time. Potency decades ago used to be about 4 to 5%. One tree used to contain 4 to 5% of THC, but now, because we are constantly creating hybrids, we're able to achieve greater potency in these plants. And as global borders drop, we are now able to share more genetics and research and there's more potential for that once the US legalizes the drug federally. Already a milestone that was recently made was that the UND scheduled the drugs. So there's a lot more, the consumer opinion continues to mount and peak in favor of legalization in the South, and US companies and Canadian companies are eagerly excited about bringing more collaborations together to both markets. Creativity is at an all-time high in the extraction space as well, because more groups are trying to use ice cold water to create bubble hash, and they're also trying to come up with new and innovative methods to measure consistency, and methods like high performance liquid chromatography, which analyzes the potency, but also there's something called IR spectroscopy, which instantly allows you to determine how much THC or CBD or any other cannabinoid is there in your flower. Testing, however, consistency remains a constant challenge, and one thing extractors need to be wary of or consider are the best practices, and they need to. A lot of pharmaceutical companies and big cannabis companies want to know how can they be ahead of science by keeping good manufacturing practices, standards, and by being compliant, both in Europe and in North America. And we need strong voices and strong bodies that are able to provide the right information and guidelines so we can measure what's there in our products. There's a lot more diversity of products in the US owing to their a lot more mature markets in some of the provinces, but the market here has its benefits of complete legalization in Canada. So what I have given you is just a little bit of a glimpse into the North American cannabis space, but I hope I have excited you enough about cannabis science, and that the next time you walk into a cannabis dispensary or surf on the internet for your cannabis next product or experience, you enjoy analyzing the scientific properties that help make this plant an essential part of global industry today. Thank you so much for your time today.